This is a Pele Media podcast.
Welcome back to Goonies Minute, everybody. Goonies Minute is the fan podcast where we carefully explore the movie Goonies minute by minute. This is Brady.
And this is Chris.
And we are here to bring you minute number 94 today. And we're joined once again by Mr. John Robert Wilson of the Fifth Element podcast. John, thank you so much for coming back today.
I'm still here, and I'm not going anywhere.
That's right. You spent the night. That's how this works.
Oh, yeah.
You stayed over.
Yeah, he can hear us. He's just in the other studio across the hall.
Yeah, across the hall.
We flew him in first class from the Big Apple.
Yeah, you guys are rolling in the podcast bucks here. You guys got a podcast, multiple studios. I mean, God, I need to move down here.
Diamond microphones.
Yeah. Don't you miss living in Baton Rouge, Louisiana?
Oh, all the time.
All the time. I know that you really miss that Cane's chicken fingers, though.
Oh, my gosh. I love Cane's chicken fingers. By the way, this podcast is brought to you by Cane's, Raising Cane's chicken finger.
If there's been one constant between everything that we've recorded together, between Goonies Minute and Fifth Element, it's talk of chicken fingers. The local chicken finger restaurant chain, Cane's.
It ain't very local anymore.
That's right, yeah.
I mean, I was driving right off the strip in Las Vegas in 2009 and passed up
Are you kidding me?
Raising Cane's. Yes.
No kidding.
And that was
in
in 2009.
They have one in Boston up here. It's the Boston College.
They have one in Dubai.
You're kidding me.
Nope.
Really?
Yeah.
Golly. Scott
I think
Graves.
it's only a matter of time before they get a couple here by NYU. But, you know, the whole, red tape and money thing.
Yeah. I'm surprised it's not there. You know, if you go in, I think it's the original location on LSU campus. They actually have a big board on the wall that tells the story of how the guy who opened it, got his capital to do it. It's a crazy story.
Yeah,
Very
fishing
cool.
for sockeye salmon. He wanted to call it sockeyes at first, but then he submitted the business idea to a business class at LSU. He got a C for his business plan, but did it anyway. And then I remember going to college at LSU, and they had stick-on letters and poster board for the drive-thru, and then they moved the corporation to Dallas, and things just went crazy after that.
Yeah, it's an amazing story. But he was featured on some HGTV show. That
Undercover Boss.
Is it the one about the tree houses?
Oh,
okay. Well,
no, that's completely different.
That is
he doesn't have
completely
anything to do with tree houses.
No, I swear. The dude who opened Cane's, he was on some special where they were talking about this massive tree house he has in his backyard that has running water and electricity or something like that.
I think he was on Undercover Boss.
What is Undercover Boss again?
It's where the boss wears a wig and fake facial hair, like the CEO of a company, and he'll do the menial job of an entry-level worker. So the CEO of Waste Management will ride in the truck for a day and get to hear all the complaints of his low-level workers.
Wow.
And then at the end of the show, they have a feel-good moment where the people that he met with that were opened their hearts to him. He was like, "Hey, I'm the CEO of your company. And by the way, you mentioned that you were having trouble, getting your son through college. So guess what? I'm going to pay for your kid's college, and I'm getting you a new house and all this stuff." And it's one of those feel good reality shows.
Has there ever been a moment where someone's just talking smack about the boss?
Oh
no.
yeah.
Really?
That makes amazing TV right there. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it really does. Well, I'm glad that the result for the one about Cane's ended in a heartwarming moment. It did, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank God. Okay, well, hey, with all this said, y'all want to talk about the Goonies?
Oh, I love the Goonies.
All right.
That's why everyone else is here, right?
Yeah, I think so. All right, well, let's get into minute number 94.
Let's do it.
In the previous minute, Andy had been pushed off the plank and into the water. Bran dove in and was able to swim her up to the surface. Ma Fratelli had Steph in mouth at the end of the plank. She was ready to push both of them in until Sloth and Chunks saved the day. Sloth swung down to the plank and pulled Mouth and Steph back to the deck. At 94 minutes, Steph unties Data and Mikey. Mikey shouts out Chunk's name. Chunk corrects him by saying no, Captain Chunk. One by one, the Goonies run along the deck and jump off of the plank into the water. Sloth is about to make his own escape before Francis and Jake stop him. They try to fake him out by playing a game of jump rope. Halfway through, they run past Sloth in an attempt to tie him up. But Sloth is too quick. He grabs the rope and pulls them back together, causing them to crash into each other. And thus ends minute 94 of The Goonies. So do you guys think that at this moment the movie is starting to get a little too fanciful and a little too playful? Because this does not feel like the same movie that we started out watching where, let's say, Mikey is The Goonies are all out on the front porch of the house, and they're talking about how the land is going to be demolished, and there's that very sentimental moment between Mikey and Brand, and that just does not feel like this movie.
This is cartoonish at this point.
Yeah, which isn't
Well,
necessarily
it's
a
fun, but it's definitely cartoonish.
It's not bad, but in like the whole idea of performance, you have this idea of earning something or earning your cartoony version of yourself.
Yeah.
Like you can't start with them being cartoons. That's just stupid. You would turn the movie off immediately. But the fact that they've established each individual character's point of view very specifically, there's very specifically different characters, and led them sort of rickety and ragtag throughout, getting to this point in the movie. And now they're like, okay, we've established reality enough. Let's up reality to 11, where we're not in reality, and make it into a cartoon. But the audience is along for the ride, I think.
That's true. And it's done in steps. It's not like it just straight up happens. Like you
Exactly.
get, we've gotten our villains who are just, step by step becoming the Three Stooges, if you will. And then we get Data's inventions, which are kind of opening a door for silliness. They've gone from things that were like very fundamental utilities, and now it's just like the pinchers of peril and the punchers of power, and not the flashlights that pop up, which oddly enough didn't even get used. So... But that's a really good point, John. It is kind of earned.
Yeah, because and it is cartoonish, but I agree with John with that you have to earn it, because let's say this: this is one of many times if the Fratellis really wanted to kill these Goonies, they could have.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It definitely could have happened.
I think too the common key that sort of locks this movie into nostalgia and earns the cartoonish. You said that Data. Jonathan K. Kwan, he plays Shorty in Indiana Jones. He is like the key that locks us into the era and this sort of earned cartoonishness, because they're all, like I said, such specific characters. What are some of the, like you said, he has Slick Shoes and another one.
What's the other one?
It's there was the flashlights. I know there's fans of the Goonies who are just screaming at their radio.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but what is your favorite of his inventions, John?
Oh, the punching glove that comes out of his jacket and punches him and punches people at the most best opportune slapstick moment.
Well, we had a discussion about that a couple of days ago, and it is that Data is just straight up, this is war. Enough is enough. He runs outside to face off with the Fratellis. And he's like, all right, you know what? I got something for you. Opens his jacket, and the puncher of power comes out and just clocks him right in the face. And then it gets Francis laughing at him.
I like the pinchers of peril right to the nether regions.
Pinchers of peril is what it is, yeah.
Well, yeah, and so he makes this kind of goofy moment and almost gets the Fratelli's guard down, and then effortlessly throws out his sleeve, and the pinchers of peril just goes out right for Francis's crotch. Do you think that he intentionally let the boxing glove out to hit him in the face so that he could get their guard? Is Data a genius,
I hope
basically?
Not. No, I hope he's an absent-minded genius.
A klutz, yeah.
Well, it's called the Bully Buster. The Bully Buster.
Bully Buster.
Is that it? There's enough things that he does in there where his booby traps are hit or miss, so he probably didn't do that on purpose.
Yeah.
All right, so I just cheated and I looked up all of his inventions. You guys ready? Here we go.
Let's do it.
Wings of Flight.
Yeah.
Sticky Dart. The Intimidator. A regular old compass. Pinchers of peril, like we just talked about. Slick Shoes, we mentioned. Bully Buster, we just mentioned. Bully Blinders.
Yeah.
And then I remember that.
Spy Eyes.
Bully Blinders was the flashlight.
Yeah, and that one made a lot of sense. It seemed realistic, and it's the only one that doesn't really work. It doesn't really work as in, like, it dies immediately. What do you think, John? Who's your favorite Goonie?
Oh my gosh. I mean, Data's way up there, but I like Mikey since he's like the leader, and he still has enough faith in all of this that he gets to lead all of his friends on this crazy adventure. He still gets to kiss the girl even though it's questionable, like we talked about last episode.
Yeah.
But God, it's hard to say because they're all so specific. It reminds you of the group of friends that you had when you were little that didn't probably exist, but it was some sort of iteration of a bunch of different people, and you guys probably fought about stuff and got along about stuff. At the same time, you guys like made it through childhood together. And I feel like Mikey kind of has this existential extra knowledge that childhood and his grown up sort of neighborhood is coming to an end or could potentially come to an end, and he makes it his responsibility to take action to prevent that.
Yeah, I think the character of Mikey Walsh is very, very, very interesting, and we've kind of made some discoveries in the last couple of minutes about how just what a kind of a twisted mind that is. It's a really compelling character, and he's not quite the hero that I think I've grown up thinking he is. Like, I think he's actually quite a manipulative person with a good goal in mind, but he is willing to. It's almost like crew expendable for his quest.
Can I just say too, the Fratelli brothers? Well, one of them, his name is Francis, and he's played by an actor named Joe Pantoliano.
Yeah, Joey Pants.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that. I was watching the minutes earlier today when you sent them to me, and I completely forgot that Joey Pants is in this movie. Cypher from The Matrix.
Yeah.
And he doesn't look like any of his other characters. He's so young, and he has so much hair. And he's so under Mama Fratelli's thumb. In this minute, she actually almost cuts him with her pirate saber.
Yeah. I would not have recognized him. He's one of those actors who he can do the littlest thing, like just have like a mustache, and he's somebody totally different. Like, you're looking at Gary Oldman every day with The Fifth Element. That's an actor who can change one little thing about his physicality, and he is someone totally different.
Yeah.
So it's Joey Pants is Joe Pantoliano is kind of in that same class, I guess.
Oh yeah. So I mean, in this minute too, like Sloth is just finished kind of saving the Goonies. He's said his iconic line that we all perfectly did our impressions of last episode.
No,
right?
two
and
of
so
you
now the two bumbling blockhead Fratelli brothers. You guys remember He-Man? Remember Skeletor?
I loved He-Man. I'm the masters of the universe.
Yes. But Skeletor always never did something. At least the early seasons, he never did anything on his own. Yeah, he was like, yeah. But Beastman or whoever else's guys were, they always messed up, and he was always like, "You bumbling blockheads!"
Oh, that's it. That's perfect. That's perfect.
And
Hi,
Mama Fratelli
I'm Adam.
has these bumbling blockheads as children.
Yeah, and like we've been saying, the movie earns that sort of comedic level of, like, say, the Three Stooges.
Yeah, it's a cartoon now. It's a cartoon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, what about Steph's fake punch on Ma? That was kind of weak, huh? I mean, that is so weak.
And it's just, it's awkward.
Come on, they can do better than that.
Yeah, as in avoiding that joke altogether. It's just out of place. But then again...
And by the way, have you ever seen people get themselves untied more quickly?
Yeah.
That had to be the weakest tied ropes ever by a bunch of criminals.
Yeah, for real.
Well, yeah, they're bumbling blockheads.
Yeah. He knows how to, make himself look hanged realistically, but he can't tie a rope around somebody. So, what are you going to do? That's all I've got for this minute. How about you guys?
That's it for me.
That's all I got.
All right. Well, I tell you what, before we get out of here for the weekend, John, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you, and not just online, but doing your stand-up around New York City?
Sure. You can find me online on Twitter at John Robert Wilso. Promote all sorts of stuff on my Twitter. Give me a follow, won't you?
Yeah.
And then I'm also a part of a podcast that you mentioned called The Fifth Element over at www.thefiftheleminute.com, where me and Movies by Minute maven Crystal Beth do a podcast just like this one, where we break down the movie The Fifth Element 1 minute at a time. And you can also catch me doing stand-up all over New York City, but my regular show is 10 years going right now. It's called Thank You Robot Science! Every third Friday of the month at Under St. Mark's Theater. You can check it out on Facebook. We have a Facebook group. Just search for Thank You Robot. We post all of our shows and stuff there.
Awesome. Well, I tell you what, with that said, everybody please go out and have a hell of a weekend. We will be back here on Monday for minute number 95. And until then, this is Brady.
And this is Chris.
And we're here to remind you that Goonies
never say die.
Goonies Minute is a fan-supported podcast. If you like the show, then leave us a review on iTunes. You can find us at GooniesMinute.com, Facebook.com/GooniesMinute, Twitter.com/GooniesMinute, and at Instagram at GooniesMinute. You can contact us at GooniesMinute@gmail.com. You've been listening to a Pele Media podcast. For premium content and exclusive podcasts, visit us at patreon.com/Pele Media. Check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/Pele Media and follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/Pele Media.